Hitler and the Nazis are not representative of the German people. And that's true all around the world today. You know, people are hating the Israelis. There's all sorts of, you know, anti-Semitic hatred going on. But the average Israeli, I know them, they are just as mad at Netanyahu as I am. So the average Israeli is not the same as Netanyahu. And it's the same in other places too.
Yeah, maybe it's one of the major motivation to to fight with kind of self-superiority.
Yeah. Monster race. Blue eyes. We almost have blue eyes.
So when most people, when we are facing the animal world, we are kind of similar figure.
Yeah.
Similar mentality.
Yeah. I'm very happy to be here with you and to say a few words. So let me start off by saying my love of animals and nature.
Thank you. Have a great trip in China. We love you. We love you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dr. Chen. My question is, I want to know your understanding of the ancient Greece Protagoras statement, man is the measure of all things.
I don't think we like to think we're the measure of everything. We like to think we're the pinnacle of the evolution because we're part of the natural world. So we've got to have a new mindset, a new way of moving forward with thinking about how we are impacting the natural world. Then sometimes I'm really tired. And so I can't give this speech. How can I give a speech? I'm much too tired. So I kind of say, you put me here, you made me do this, help. And then I make a really good speech. We all have a mission. We don't all discover it. And I discovered my mission was to raise awareness about the planet, and then after that to give people hope. So, okay, so if I'm put here with this mission by some spiritual power, how do we persuade governments? How do we persuade business? They don't seem to care. Oh, I'll be all right. I'll be dead before it gets too bad. But don't you care about your children? Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Oh, well, it may never happen. You know, I mean, I heard with my own ears, President-elect Donald Trump said, climate change is the biggest hoax in human history. He said that.
Yeah.
And he's going to be president. And his chief advisor will be Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the only person who's attacked me on social media because when I'm talking about the problems we face, I always say to have unlimited economic development on a planet with finite natural resources and a growing human population doesn't make sense. We've got 8 billion of us roughly on the world today. By 2050 it'll be about 10 billion. What's going to happen? I've never said more than that. And Elon Musk accused me of wishing for human genocide on social media. He's going to be the main advisor to Donald Trump. I mean, what do you do? And then all these political leaders, they all get together and they make their little plans, and it's like I'm reminded in Shakespeare's, we petty men creep under their huge legs and peep about to find ourselves dishonorable graves. And so I just thought, that's exactly what it's like.
So many people feel so powerless.
Yes. Makes the job of somebody like me very difficult. And still, I must give hope, because if people lose hope now, then of course we can't do anything about it.
But in 1930s, 40s, it's more harsher than now, I guess. The World War II.
What was I, 10, 11, 12, the end of the war? And the images of the Holocaust came out, the torture. And that made a deep, deep impression. I learned about human evil for the first time. And I began writing poems about it. And I began lying, thinking, how would I withstand torture? If I was being tortured to tell about something, would I be able to withstand it or not? So it was a grim time.
So for today's world, what's the biggest threat of evil in today's world?
Well, probably what really upsets me in Palestine, in Gaza. I think that's just, I mean, so many children killed, thousands of them, bombed, destroyed. That has to be evil, doesn't it?
So what's the best solution or attitude towards evil?
Conquering it somehow. Go back to the Lord of the Rings. Sauron, the Dark Lord,
Yeah.
and the orcs. It is really, it's almost like a whole scene of today. So we need, so we actually talk about this, you know, when I'm talking about particularly the environmental problems of the world. And, you know, there are people with the Jane Goodall Institute, with Roots and Shoots. And so I say, you know, we've got to grow the fellowship. You know, Lord of the Rings is Fellowship of the Ring. Well, we haven't got a ring, but we need to grow the fellowship to fight the Dark Lords. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I say to people sometimes when they say, well, I don't have hope, but I'll go on fighting anyway, because, as I've always said, supposing there isn't any hope, which I really don't believe. I believe there is hope, because I think we're beginning to wake up. But suppose there wasn't. Isn't it better to die fighting for what you believe in than just to give up and let your last days fade away and eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die?
Because you said you like the Lord of the Rings very much. So if you were in book, what kind of role you would play? Frodo or Sam or Gandalf? Which one you want to play?
I didn't ever want to play any here. I just admired them or hated them, depending.
It's also about how people live in the dark times. So what do you get from the book? I mean, about courage, about maybe dilemma,
Persistence.
persistent.
Hope. I mean, Frodo and Sam attempted the impossible. And that's one of my reasons for hope, the people who attempt the impossible and are told that they're stupid, but they succeed.
How literature experience shape your scientific discovery?
I don't know that it did. I mean, even as a little girl, I was out in nature watching birds and insects and squirrels and, you know, loving to be out looking at the colors of the autumn tree and the little buds coming out in spring. And that tied in with poetry. very much.
Who is your favorite poet?
Probably Keats.
Keats.
Yeah.
Lots about nature, about the birds. Yeah.
I used to read Shakespeare all the time, and then poetry. I read a lot of poetry, and I loved it.
How does this kind of experience change your maybe scientific training?
Because I haven't had scientific training. I'm much more romantic than a scientist.
Yeah, actually, you're a romance-driven person, actually.
You know, scientific method, the way I use it's fine, but scientific method, being objective and cold, that's led to a lot of cruelty. You know, your animals are just subjects. I was told we were not part of the animal kingdom, we're separate. That's rubbish. In a male-dominated world, it was pointless arguing with a big, powerful male. And I probably discovered that early. So you have to use other things. Yes, you can use some female qualities, a little bit flirtatious, perhaps. something to get their attention. And then a story. You know how wise my mother was? You can imagine, during the war, we got to hate Germans. The sound of a German voice, it made you scared. Because, you know, they were on our doorstep. So after the war, I was left school, and my uncle had a job in Germany. And he found a family that wanted somebody to come and teach the children English. Would I go? Mum said yes. Her friends were horrified. You're letting your daughter go off to that evil country? How can you How can you let her go into a German family? You know her answer? I want Jane to understand that. I suspect every one of us in this room, definitely including me, we all have unsustainable lifestyles. So thinking about all of this, meeting these young people who were losing hope, they said to me, we feel like this because you have compromised our future and there's nothing we can do about it. So would you agree we have compromised the future of our children? In fact, we've been stealing it probably since the Industrial Revolution. Would you agree with them when they said there was nothing they could do about it? No. I was brought up during World War II in very, very tough times in England. Quite a long time when Britain stood alone against the might of Nazi Germany. I learned about life and death. Some of my family members were killed, and I was only a little girl. There's absolutely no question. If we hadn't had Winston Churchill to rouse the fighting spirit of the British people, we would have succumbed and become part of Nazi Germany. It helped me to understand that the voice of one person crying out in a time of despair can change the way that people think. And it really helped me to feel the importance of each one of us speaking out as we feel in these dark times today. But I want to say, every single one in this room has that same indomitable spirit. So let us all use that indomitable spirit to change the world for better, for our children, their children, and the future.
I'm here, Jen. Go there. Yeah. I love the red, the color.
This comes from Nepal.
Nepal, oh.
Given to me in Argentina
Argentina, yeah.
by an actor.
Really?
His son gave it to him from Nepal.
Oh, yeah. Multitask person.
Yes.
I love last night. Stand on chair. Cool.
You helped me last night. They all said I couldn't. You said, yes, she can.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You had faith in me.
Yeah. Because, I watch you, I see you schedule during the past 2 days. It's so strong individual power for you. But you need to keep the organization going on. But your personal role is too huge for the organization. Do you worry about it? Maybe one day you left the organization, maybe facing the leadership vacuum, the icon
I don't
vacuum.
think so. There's so many good leaders coming up through the Roots and Shoots program. Some people who lead that program are with us after many, many years. They stay and their values are strong. Those who've been through the program maintain those values of respect, compassion, determination. And, as we began in 91, we've got many adults in decision-making positions now.
What's the major regret during the past 90 years? Let's look back.
I don't know. Work-wise, I don't think I've got any regrets. Of course, I regret leaving the forest, but the reason why I left the forest wouldn't have gone away, so then I wouldn't be happy in the forest because I know I should be doing what I'm doing now.
So, because from your memoir, I think maybe your childhood experience about the Nazism, about the German experience, maybe the major driven force for you to do so much things because you want the equal. Is that the major driving force? It's very unequal.
Very unequal, but then you see, straight after the war, my mother gave me that lesson. Go to Germany and find out Nazis and Hitler are not normal Germans. That's the fanatical streak that comes out in us and so many people. And creates violence and war and hatred.
It's sort of also part of our human gene.
I think it's part of our human genes, and unfortunately, it doesn't take much to... That spirit of I hate seems to be quite easily aroused. And people seem to enjoy being angry and throwing stones. But I don't know if that's true. It just looks that way.
So empathy is part of our natural, but also we need to practice more and more.
Well, we certainly... I mean, science has tried to crush it. That's led to so much cruelty. And one of the things, before I visited Auschwitz, one of the death camps, I was taken by a German friend who also wanted to visit Auschwitz because he couldn't understand how people, because he lived during the war too, he couldn't understand how people either didn't know or pretended not to know what was going on with these trains of people going to the death camps where he lived. And the thing he showed me that stayed with me forever, it was, I think it was Himmler who was in charge. And there's a letter that he wrote to the young men who were going in as Gestapo into the prisons as warders. And he said, "It is to be expected that some of you will show empathy for the prisoners. This must be stamped out immediately."
Yeah.
And they were trained that way. I mean, these young men, the young Nazis, they had a 2-year training. And at the beginning, they were given a dog, a police dog, and told, take this dog everywhere. You've got to strongly bond with the dog. And so they came in for their final exam with the dog, who'd become, their best friend in these 2 years, and they were told, shoot your dog. And if they couldn't shoot the dog, they were out.
Wow.
So that shows you the kind of people who made it into the Gestapo.
So cruel.
Yes. Horrible. Horrible.
So,
That's what I call evil. The difference between doing bad things because you're all roused up and angry and you just do it, or cold-bloodedly thinking, oh, we'll train people like this. That's evil. Chimps aren't capable of evil. We are.
so for you, what's the connection between human rights and animal rights?
Oh, it's much the same. Human rights, animal rights, they may be given rights, but they're violated all the time.
But someone will say you are too idealistic.
Well, you're very idealistic if you think, as some people do, that if I give animal rights, they'll be safe. That's very idealistic because there's ways around everything. It's not the law. I mean, yes, the law helps, but it's our feeling that matters.
So do you agree that someone said maybe some evil is inevitable?
No, I don't agree. Why should it be? No. Do you think that?
I'm not so sure about it, but
I mean, I think human beings are definitely capable of evil.
yeah.
But that's only if we get the situation better where there isn't a need for evil thoughts. I don't know if it's inevitable. I think it's most likely because humans are flawed. Unless we get rid of this desire for money and power, then there will always be fighting. And when there's fighting, there will be evil, yes.
So what's the solution if more and more people become much more angry? The hatred is spreading around the world.
My solution is to get everybody involved in roots and shoots. No, but I'm serious because those people understand that we need peace. I mean, it's so stupid to be fighting over money and territory, and as long as you have enough, why must we always want more? More money, more territory, more land, more power.
From your early research, because you found that the chimpanzee can use tool, it make a huge impact on the definition of human being. But now, through so much years, and see the different world, now how do you think about the human being now? What makes us different, special?
I think what makes us different is the explosive development of this intellect, which I personally think was at least in part triggered by our sudden, discovery that we could speak with words. So for the first time, we could tell children about things that weren't there. Chimps can't do that. They can demonstrate, they can model, but they can't tell chimpanzees about what happened last year. And so that, along with being able to plan for the future, remember the past, and most important, bring people from different skill sets to discuss a problem and try and find a solution. So I personally think that triggered our development of our intellect.
But sometimes, because you talk about a lot of hope, about commitment, but sometimes we choose the wrong direction. Maybe we don't know, but it's the wrong direction. We still so driving us to do it, but it's wrong. What should I do?
Well, I can't imagine doing that. So I can't tell you what I do because I cannot imagine charging off in the wrong direction. But I think a lot of people do. Young people do it because they see no other way of making a living. They hate what they do. Some are forced to join the army and they are told to kill and they hate it. And, you know, a lot of young people get misled. And I always tell students, if you think you want to, for example, go out and study something in the field, and halfway through your degree you find you've made a mistake, don't be afraid to change. Don't get pushed into a life of doing something that you don't really care about. And that happens to a lot of students. On the other hand, there are students, particularly in Asia, especially Japan, and they've read my books. It's my fault. They've read my books, so they want to go in the field, and they're very passionate about it. But their parents and their teachers want them to go into business to make money. And they come to me in Japan crying and saying, you know, I really want to do it, but my parents don't want me to, and my teacher is pushing me. So what shall I do? So I say, well, don't go against your parents now. So do what they want you to do. Do it as well as you can. Try to succeed. In all your free time, you can still help animals and the environment. And then when you get to a certain age, you can drop what you're doing and do what you really want to do. It won't be too late.
So what's the difference and the relationship between hope and illusion?
Hope and illusion. Well, I would say...
You want water? Some water.
Everything here is cold. No. All the
maybe
liquid.
hot water.
The coffee was freezing.
We get some hot water.
Hot water for you. Sorry, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Maybe you want some whiskey, if you want.
Maybe I do.
Maybe it's too hot.
All right, make it cooler.
It's okay.
Okay. Has she got the whiskey?
Yeah, we got it here.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah. We made the whiskey. It's
Well, now I've nowhere to put it.
我们再拿一个杯子吧。Can taste this one. You know, the biggest lesson I learned from you is that anytime is whiskey time.
I try not, you know. They all know I drink whiskey. They all know I have a naughty sense of humor. So, you know, it's the icon before they meet me. But then in my books, I talk about whiskey, and I don't hide anything.
Yeah. I love your playful side.
Yeah,
Very playful,
yeah.
actually. You.
Even more. You see, it's helping my voice. I don't know what we were talking about when my voice gave out. You asked me a question, but I can't remember what it was. And then my voice. And we started talking about cold drinks. But I cannot remember what you asked me before that. Something I did not yet answer. But I can't remember it.
Too much information for you, I guess.
No, you should be able to remember your question. But you've forgotten it. And nor can I.
Yeah, give me 1 minute. I can reconnect. Maybe, yes, kind of. Is silence good? Because, you know, Jen, I read lots of your materials, your speech and your interviews, because you have to repeat some stories again and again. And I truly want to know some different dimension of you, but sometimes I'm not sure. I don't know. How should I do to open maybe new conversation space, new dimension of the talk, so also puzzle me.